Just a few hours late, huh? Just a couple, 2-3 hours late. What's up, unit? Salute. Thank you guys for waiting on this review. I know this is coming at you, or most likely is going to come at you pretty late. Later in the afternoon, maybe even evening. The next day after Raw. But a lot of side business, a lot of things I had to attend to first off. But I'm very glad I was able to carve out this time because I do have a couple pages of notes, and you guys damn sure are going to get a fully amplified, full of nothing but honesty, full throttle amplified review coming up. Monday Night Raw 113-25. The good news, it was better than last week. The bad news, that's the bar that we've set with this new Netflix era. Will at least be better than week one? Can we at least do better than what we just had? So I don't know what that's saying about the bar, but we're heading in the right direction, maybe. A couple of things last night that I actually didn't mind. We'll go over it. And then there was just a lot, man. Hour 2 more than anything. Just produced some of the most puzzling, some of the most bizarre, out-of-place decision-making that not even Hunter himself, I want to believe anyway, not even Hunter just himself could have made these decisions. It had to have been like a platoon of people that got in a room and just made a lot of bad decisions. Because hour 2, what are you doing with the Wyatts, bro? What are you doing with Nia and Bayley in a WWE Raw ring? What does this have to do with Rhea? Did she even speak after Nia and Bayley did their business? Nia just got cashed in on by Tiffany. She's got plenty of business to keep her hands full over on SmackDown. What is Bayley and Nia doing? What did that do for Rhea? I have no idea. Sheamus and Braun Breaker, I guess, is the feud that's going to get you excited for the IC title. I don't. Miz and Sami Zayn will try to amplify you, I guess. Next week's main event, Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre for the 5,614th time, is supposed to carry you until next week. No cliffhanger. They just want you to know that Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, a match we've seen 5,614 times as well. So it doesn't matter. I mean, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, it wouldn't even matter. So that's what I mean. There's a lot of just the decisions. I don't even know if anybody even cares anymore behind the scenes. And I think they're hoping that fans don't care anymore. Like, just listen, there's so many hours. Just take what we give you. You're going to see the same matches over and over and over. Don't question it. Sit there. Yell, "This is awesome." Go online after the match and talk about how great it was. Maybe even rate it 5 stars. But there was some good stuff, man. Penta and Gable, are you kidding me? We'll talk about it. A new IC champion was crowned. I wish it felt more important. I wish the company made it feel more important. But we will talk about it. Val is off to the moon. If this continues, this was somebody that Shawn Michaels was very high on, had a huge recommendation over to Hunter, and it looks like Hunter is going to honor that from Shawn Michaels. We'll talk Val. We'll talk the new IC champion. We'll talk the street fight. You know, I once got a donut from Dunkin' Donuts. It was a Boston cream. I'll never forget. I really wanted that Boston cream donut, and I took a bite. There was no cream. I'm like, all right, maybe it's more in the middle, right? So I took another bite. Okay, this Boston cream's playing hard to get. All right, this is one of those ones that's going to start at the middle line. I'm going to have to eat a half a donut just to get to the cream, but I'm like, it is what it is. I drew the unlucky straw. I'm going to eat half a donut with no cream. I get to the halfway point. There's no cream. Now I'm like, all right, these are one of those little sumbitches that there's only cream on like one side. It's going to be one bite of cream. Whatever. It's going to be a damn good bite. Go into the second half of that donut. There's no cream. I get to the final bite. No cream. I'm like, all right, maybe it's in the middle of that final bite. No cream. The whole donut, no cream. They advertised a Boston cream. I got just a circle of dough. That's what I got, a circle of dough. Delicious, sure. Wasn't a Boston cream donut. I was told I was getting a street fight last night, right? I got to fight, right? Like a circle of dough. You can call it a donut. It wasn't a Boston cream. I got a fight last night in that main event. It wasn't a street fight. I don't know how many street fights you guys have been in that have kendo sticks and steel chairs and trash can lids and how many people you're throwing through thin pieces of wooden tables. Bar fight, maybe some tables, but that's not a street fight. It can lead to the street. But how is that a street fight? Isn't that, I'm being serious, guys. Isn't that just called a no disqualification match? Like, truthfully, I mean that. That's a real question. Isn't what we saw last night just a no DQ match? No count out, no DQ. I guess no DQ would be no count out too, though, right? But the point is, isn't it just no DQ, no count out? Even if you want to call it no holds barred, that's something we hear. How is it a street fight? Or are we now just lumping it together? Is a street fight basically just no holds barred, which is basically just no count out, no DQ? Can we just call it what it is? It's a no DQ match. No holds barred. If you're really going to have a street fight, take it to the street, right? You're marketing it. This is what you're advertising. Deliver. Put the cream in the donut. That's all we're asking. Put the cream in the damn donut. Thank you. Street fight. No street. That irritates me. But fun fight. It was a fight. I'm not calling it a street fight from here on out, but it was a fun fight. A lot went into it. They overbooked it. They had Balor at one point in a neck brace and stretchered. Without going into the street, the boys put on a performance. It's a match we've seen a couple times already, two, 3 times too many maybe, but this was their most entertaining bout. So that's a plus as well. So like I said, there was a couple 2, 3 things I actually did not mind in this show. It's a step, baby steps in the right directions. That's why BC will tell you in this cold open, it was better than last week. And while that is a bar set very low, and that has to be changed, at least we are going in the right direction this week. But wow, was there a lot of decisions I am dumbfounded on, and most of those, again, were, I believe, an hour or two. We'll go over from top to bottom. We'll see if I am correct, if memory serves me right. I haven't been able to go over these before we started recording because, again, I had so many commitments that I had to attend to, which is why you guys are getting this so late. Usually I go over the notes with a pre-cup of coffee and then fire up another cup and we go live or we start cutting the recording. But, I mean, these notes are going to be fresh from just last night, so I did not go over them. All apologies if I'm kind of muffling some words here and there, trying to see what exactly I wrote down or typed in. But you guys are no doubt, man, no matter how late this gets out to, you're getting a fully amplified, full of nothing but honesty on this show review. Monday Night Raw 113.25. There was no way you guys were not going to get this. So I just fired up this cup of coffee. If you don't mind, no opening signature. We're already going to be late as it is. Let me just get a big swig, and we're going to get right into this, man. We're going to start with a very, very pointless segment. I thought at first, the more I thought about it, I'm like, all right, I see the bigger picture. But for the first 25 minutes, I was thinking, this can't be how you're starting this show, right? All right, let's get started. If you guys hear any background chatter, that is the NFL Network just getting caught up on all of the news from the playoffs that maybe I have missed. Because anytime, any free time that I have away from business, I always dedicate to this channel and to you guys. So that's also a good time to try to get caught up on all my sports. So trying to double dip here, man. But you guys got my undivided, trust me on that. We started this show off with CM Punk. All right, so you're thinking, all right, we're starting it off with Punk. They're going to have something big planned. Let's see, man. Let's see if they're going to have something big for Punk for the Rumble. Maybe over the next couple weeks, maybe Saturday night's main event, something big with Punk. Right? Because they're starting the show. You're thinking this has got to be big. Hopefully a lot of time was dedicated to this segment, and there's a lot that's going to come from it. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to lead to something later in the night for Saturday night's main event, for Rumble, right? It's going to be the gift that keeps giving. A huge CM Punk storyline sparks last night, right? Get away from just this weird Seth Rollins thing, which was pretty much decided last week. But instead, Punk just decides that, or declares, I should say, that he is entering the Royal Rumble. That's it. That's all he says. Sethington Rollins then comes to the ring. Seth says, "Oh yeah? Well, I'm entering the Royal Rumble." That's it. Okay. Drew McIntyre comes down. Drew's like, "I'm entering the Royal Rumble." And that's it. I wish I could tell you anything else, guys. I wish I could. I wish I was like, man, maybe I missed something. No. The first 25 minutes of this show, that's nearly a half an hour for those that are really good at time. Nearly a half an hour dedicated to Punk, Rollins, and Drew declaring themselves Royal Rumble bound. That's it. The segment itself was 20 minutes, and then you either got filler or you were taken to commercials. I got a little bit of a mixture of both. And I got full transparency, too, by the way, on that Netflix. Because nobody knows what's going on. Because they have friends that are watching, like, interviews, and then they're watching commercials, and then all of a sudden their friends got a commercial, and then they got backstage filler. It's not just tier. Like, Netflix is also just throwing ads in wherever they want, no matter the tier. Or a lot of viewers are being very fortunate. They're getting 0 commercials. It doesn't matter the tier. I've talked to so many people from every tier, different description times on when they got their Netflix deals, what they're bundled with. I even talked to people that are bundled. Like, there's bundle deals. You can get that with, like, Apple has something and then something else. And if you bundle it, it's like its own tier. And even those members are conflicting. So this Netflix thing, you never know when you're getting a commercial or if you're going to get a backstage interview. Or some people were able to see Balor last night actually getting the neck brace put on, getting put on the stretcher, whereas BC was taken right to a commercial that whole time. When we came back, he was already being taken out with the stretcher. So Netflix is just all over the place with that. There's no decisive way in knowing, like, when a commercial is coming, if everybody's getting it, who's getting what. And that's going to actually ruin a flow eventually, if it's not already. But that's a side story, man. First 20 minutes was dedicated to this, and we didn't even start something new. A lot of people didn't come back from commercial until 25 minutes into this. So Punk, Rollins, Drew, all declaring themselves Royal Rumble bound. And we needed 25 minutes to start our Raw to tell us that. Now, what I meant in the cold open, when I said at first, I was like, nah, this ain't it. And then I came around to the idea, all right, I see what they're doing. Or I'm hoping this was what they were thinking. Let's really just make the 25 minutes about the Rumble and how star-studded it is, right? Punk is in it. Seth is in it. Drew is in it. Roman saying he's in it. Everybody is going to be in this, right? Brother Hulk Hogan is about to announce he's coming back for the Rumble, bro. Undertaker's going to come back. Glass is going to shatter. Here comes Stone Cold. We get it. It's star-studded, and it is. So that's why I'm easing up. I'm pumping the brakes on ripping this first segment apart. Because I always do say, the show is to promote and really pump up the pay-per-view that's coming up. In the most laziest, most easiest of ways, that's what they did last night. My critique, I wish there was more substance for the night, for the show itself. Because nothing happened with these three. They said, we're all going to the Rumble, and that was it. Later on, Sethington found out he's facing Drew next week. How many times? I said this several times this past year when they announced Seth versus Drew several times. And I said, how many more times do you need to see them face one another? Now it's 2025. And just the third Netflix show next week, Seth and Drew. That's what I mean to fans that wonder, why are some critics so harsh, right? Why does it seem like they're negative a lot of the time? Well, because this is what they give us as promotional to look forward to. You can't be shocked when a lot of fans are not excited about this, and they should be. It's pro wrestling, man. Everything should be exciting us. There should be 6 to 7 storylines at a time that are next level. I can't even think of 6 to 7 storylines up front in the whole WWE right now. 6 to 7 really good storylines. Forget next level. So I'm pumping the brakes on ripping the first segment apart. Okay, because we're bumping up the Rumble. And the whole story is it's star-studded. But wow, 25 minutes and ain't nothing happened for that show. And the only announcement was for next week's show, and that's a Seth-Drew match. I don't want to spend more time on this first segment because at this point, I'll go the 20-some-odd minutes that they went, and I feel like I'll just be talking in circles. Let's go to something that was probably the best part of the night, right? I think it was anyway, yeah. I mean, just thinking about this up front. Gable versus Penta. And I love well, let me get a swig. We'll talk it. Chad Gable versus the debuting Penta. Michael Cole said it best, right? The worst kept secret in the business. As Penta, I know a lot of you guys, you don't watch the show, you just listen to BC's review. Thank you guys. I always say that every week. I appreciate you guys for trusting this channel to be your number one source for all things wrestling, not just the reviews, but the news, the updates. I always got you guys covered, man. No matter where in the world that BC is, I will always make the time or try to find it and record and fill you guys in on everything you should know in the pro wrestling world. So I appreciate you guys that don't watch the shows, but you catch BC several times a week. But if you did miss this show, while Penta was coming to the ring, Michael Cole literally said the worst kept secret in the business. Because we knew about it for weeks, even months, I would say, right? Especially the last full month because they've been giving you teasers. They've been giving you teasers. Teasers last week was the biggest one when it literally said Penta, right? It was spelled out on the mask. So, I mean, that's pretty much, it can't say Penta and all of a sudden you get Rey Fenix. But for this matchup, this was tough for BC, right? Really good to see Penta. I'm not the biggest Penta fan, although I might become with the presentation last night. I'll get to that. But it was good to see Penta. But the rough part was knowing that Gable's taking this L, right? Gable's just in there to be a good hand, have a good match, and look up at the lights, buddy. So I did feel bad about that because Gable needs a lot more. Gable should have a lot more by now. Some characters, some wrestlers don't need titles, and some absolutely do. Gable is so damn good, and his character would actually call for many titles. And it's a shame that he hasn't had that, or even had main events at pay-per-views, or at least not many that I can think of. And that he didn't have the spotlight on him more times than he has. I can't even count on one hand the amount of times he's had the big spotlight on him on a big night. And that's sad. And here he is just taking an L. So that's the rough part for BC, but that's the critic in me, right? That's where I'm looking at all the wrestlers involved, the storyline involved, the segment involved, the show in totality, how it affects the business in totality, how it affects the fans, the response from the fans. That's my duty, my job as a critic, a reputable one anyway, right? Anybody can grab a mic camera and try to do this, but if you're reputable, if you know what you're talking about, right? It's not just gift to gab or be entertaining, or right? You have to have knowledge and you have to actually do the research, get your ducks in a row, do your due diligence. And when you break it all down, there's no way you don't feel bad for Chad Gable. So you're happy for Penta, but a true critic knows that's not best for Gable. But the match itself, 13-minute match. Penta, I know it doesn't seem like a lot. It's not. It would have been cool if they gave him at least 15, but apples and oranges at this point. It's 2 more minutes. What they did in the 13, so good. As I said, Penta snaps Gable's arm with the sacrifice submission and then hits the Penta driver for the clean W. So again, Gable loses clean as we knew he was going to. Penta driver, he's looking up at the lights. Fun match. Literally put this in my notes, man. 4 words, right? Fun match, good match. Fun match with a period, good match. That's what I put. I mean, you want the most straight up, honest response to this when it was done. That's what I put immediately when the bell rang. Fun match, good match. And, by the way, a really good move by WWE to have Jackie Redmond interview him post-match. Because there's plenty of great wrestlers on the roster. Most rosters, right? AEW, WWE, TNA, the local bingo hall. a GCW, anywhere in between. Everyone has a great roster these days because so many wrestlers do all the moves, right? For years, while they were growing up, they were in their parents' backyard doing all the flips on the trampoline. So we have great wrestlers. There's no shortage of that. But what we need is personality showcased, right? Showcase, spotlight Penta's personality. I thought giving him a microphone, that was brilliant afterwards. And the English is not bad at all. I mean, he could absolutely, I'm not saying he's rocking the microphone or mic dropping in English, but it was good. I mean, you could see that this dude's got there's something there, right? For a lot of people that only watch him wrestle, and AEW doesn't really put a mic in his face a lot, WWE decided on the very first night put a mic in front of his face. Now, the other half of it was absolutely Spanish. I couldn't believe Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee was hilarious, but you know that emoji, the hand to the head, oh man, McAfee, what are you doing? Max says, and I quote, "I didn't understand half of what he was saying, but it sure sounded majestic." Pat, what are you doing, Pat? Oh, that was funny, but probably could have refrained from saying that. It's San Jose. He's really speaking to the house. But even if you don't speak Spanish, you're not speaking that language, you're still feeling the emotion and the passion, and you're trying to get behind it. And then McAfee's like, I didn't know what this dude's talking about or what he's saying, but it sounded majestic. It's like the old thing. Yeah, what he said. You know, so it's almost like Penta's all fired up and passionate, and McAfee just lays this joke down, and you hear Michael Cole giggling. I don't know. I just don't want him to be like a joke or just known as the good wrestler, but he can't speak that great of English, so he's got to kind of stay here. I hope that's not what we do. I understand it was in the moment. That's why everyone loves Pat Mac. But we could have probably refrained from the... I didn't understand half of what he's saying, but it sounded good, buddy. Sounded good. Cool story, bro. We probably didn't have to go that route, but it is what it is. I couldn't believe he said that. There was a pause at first. You just hear Cole giggling. But I thought he spoke pretty damn decent English, to be honest with you, and I think put the mic in front of him more, and what we can't do is just keep him mid-card because of a language barrier or Hunter doesn't believe that he can fire up a mic, because that's going to greatly hinder him. It's going to cuff him. So what it doesn't do good for is that mid-card, like Andrade and the Mellos and all of them, because let's just say Hunter does decide to push him next level. I mean, Andrade, Mello, so many of these dudes can't even find that type of time or that type of booking. You got these new guys coming in, and H last night doing the point, right? He's got to get you with the point, right, when you come through the curtain. So he points, and he's pointing at the glove that says Lucha Bros. So that tells you that Rey Fenix is on his, again, worst kept secret. We already know this. But Rey Fenix is going to come in. So then does the Hunter just stuff him in the tag team division, whatever division that is? There is no division. There's a bunch of tag teams. There's no tag team division. It sucks. But maybe you just chucks them there and they're forgotten about, I guess, right? Motor City came in, won titles. You thought, whoa, this is going to be the wildest booking rocket we've ever seen. Nobody's even talking about him now. I don't know. Give this a few weeks, not even months. And I hope this is not the case, but don't be shocked if Penta is just feels like another wrestler on the in the company. I hope that's not the case. Last night, the way he was presented was a superstar. But pointing at the glove, Rey Fenix coming in, it feels like Hunter will just stuff them into the tag team division. I hope that's the only thing you can do, right? They're the Lucha Bros. But man, the way Penta looked last night, this dude looked like a freaking superstar, dude. I was never a big fan of Penta. Always good to see him in action and always saluted, always respected the dude's talent. But I can't say I was a massive supporter. Last night, I'm watching this dude in the ring against Gable, and I'm watching him on the microphone and listening, and I'm just like, this dude's a like he belongs. If anybody was to belong in WWE, it looks like he belonged there the last 2 to 3 decades. I mean, Penta's just got that presence in that ring. I don't know. He didn't even feel that way in AEW. And I know it's easy just to clown down on Tony's booking of him. But what could Tony do? They were the Lucha Bros, and Tony gave him a lot of airtime. Of course, they could have been booked better. But you look at the roster Tony had assembled, most of us cannot Monday morning quarterback now and go, damn, Penta should have been one of the biggest stars in that company. Come on, man. With the talent that they had at the time and still have, you would have just surpassed all of that and gave Penta all that airtime in the main events and the championships. Come on, man. Maybe you could, but think, please, about all the talent that they have. So I can't dog out Tony Khan for that decision. But obviously, Penta was not happy with the progression. I just hope Hunter can give him what he's looking for booking-wise. Because this could go off the tracks. And you could just see Andrade in the same position he is today than he was with Vinnie Mac. We're going left field with a hockey stick. I don't want to make this a 3-hour review, but you get BC, got a fresh coffee, and it's good. I made this one really good from the Amplified Monster 5000 coffee machine. The coffee is flowing, BC, and the gift to Gab like I always am, man. Rocking out with some wrestling knowledge in a review. Sometimes we take these segments of these matches, and I just start dishing out everything that's on my dome piece, man. Everything that I'm kind of thinking, and I'm trying to think a mile ahead for the right reasons and for the wrong reasons, and I'm hoping that Hunter can realize you gotta pay extra attention to this because it can go off the rails. Penta is special, man, and I gotta give Hunter some credit because he waited for San Jose, knowing that was the best place to present him out there for the debut, and it was. It was, especially with that audience and really heavily behind him. You're not going to get that audience every week if you were to debut him. You guys know that. San Jose, perfect time to do that. So Hunter did this up to this point really well. Now the trick is continue it. Hunter doesn't have the best track record for that. Remains to be seen. But we have to review this show. BC's mission right now to review this segment. And that match was so good. The way Penta was booked and looked, so good. Giving him the mic afterwards, so good. Check, 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 check. Probably the best part of the night. Chad Gable posted something too afterwards, and he's just like, he said, I hate Penta, luchadors, all of that. He's like, I can't stand that. But tonight reminded me and reignited that passion of why I fell in love with pro wrestling years ago. Something to that effect. So Gable in that match last night, rejuvenized, and hopefully Hunter will be rejuvenized and giving Gable good booking. It's time to let Gable soar, and if he needs a little bit of a rocket to do that, put it on the dude. Let's not just give it to the newbies and just guys like Penta. Let's remember who you already have. Chadathan Gable was putting in the miles before Penta got on the road of WWE. It's time to, little pit stop at the gas station, refuel, and when that car takes off, when that Chad Gable vehicle takes off, let him get to that destination with some gold. And a lot of spotlight. Chad Gable, Penta. Man, I got to give that a salute. Salute. Best part of the night. They just belong. Some people you just see them in the ring and just say, yep, that just works. Gable, Penta. So in this instance, everything H did was, and I can't say this often, unfortunately, everything he did here, the approval of it, top notch. Hour number 1 ends with Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Rematch from August 5th, obviously. Rematch also from October 28th. And if you've went to a WWE show on tour, 2 separate tours, so they faced each other plenty of times. And again, a couple of times even on Monday Night Raw in 2024. But second show of the year, at least for Netflix, and you're just getting this again for no reason. Ludwig versus Sheamus. And by the way, again, recently, November 30th, was it? Survivor Series? But that was a triple threat. They added Braun Breaker. So even at big pay-per-view PLEs, you've seen these two. But for some reason, it's just like here. Just throw out Sheamus and Ludwig. Bro kick, Sheamus pins Ludwig. That's it. That's all that happened, guys. Post-match, Sheamus got into some words with Braun Breaker. Because Braun Breaker was front row for some reason. This was so bizarre. So odd. Just so weird. Braun Breaker is watching this thing from the front row. Did anybody tell this dude? Or does he not realize that he's part of the roster? And he actually has a champion. He has a title. He has a championship. He's part of the roster. He could be hanging out backstage. He's in the front row like a fan. And he just starts getting into these words with Sheamus. And I guess that's announced for Saturday night's main event. So, Breaker, Sheamus, and you just saw 2 out of those 3, November 30th, the Triple Threat Survivor Series. So, we've seen that as well, but that's that. So, Ludwig just takes an L in a rematch of a rematch of a rematch of a rematch, and then Braun Breaker and Sheamus have words. So, if that was fine for you, right? If that got you excited, or if you're going to go, oh, BC, I didn't mind that whole thing, cool. I'm not even joking, man. I'm not going to rip you for that. If you liked it, if you enjoyed it, that's what matters. But if you have the booking pen, is this what you would book? Like, that's what I would ask. If there's fans that say, I'm okay with that, but if you were in charge of the booking and you had these 3, right? The boss told you, I need you to think of something creative tonight for Ludwig, Sheamus, and Breaker. The same triple threat we had a couple months ago at Survivor Series. We just want to keep this going. It's lost its fire. It has no flame left. Fans have already gone past it, but we don't have anything else. So just somehow do something creative with these 3 names. And you're like, fuck. Is this all you would come up with? Sheamus beats Ludwig in a rematch of a rematch of a rematch times 10. And then afterwards, Breaker and Sheamus have words on the outside. That's what I'm saying, guys. See, when I break it down like that, raise the standards. You would if you had the booking, Ben. You should raise your standard if you are a fan watching. It's okay to tell WWE you can do better. You should do better. It's okay to say, hey, you know what? Just because 2 or 3 segments were good last night in a 2.5 hour plus show doesn't mean this show was good in totality. You need to step up. You're a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. It's okay as a fan. You're the consumer. You're giving them all this money so they can turn around and talk about how they're making record revenue. So you have a say and a voice in trying to make it better. That's what this channel was based on. Matches like this and segments like this make it boring. And at this point, we're going into the second hour of our primetime Monday nights. A lot of people are just getting back from errands or school or jobs or just errands, you name it. They're tired. They're going into the second hour. And this is what is supposed to keep them awake and excited. It missed the boat. So can hour 2 get us back on, at least this ship back in the right direction? Well, let's talk about it. This was Seth Rollins backstage. You're not going to believe this. This is what I mean. So we start hour 2, not in the ring with this, some big segment, right? Some big storyline is sparking off. We're backstage for hour 2, and Seth Rollins is being told that next week he'll face Drew McIntyre. This is a match we have seen 5,486 times in the past, guys. Pay-per-views, PLEs, Raws, SmackDowns, house shows, tours, dark matches, you name it. We have seen Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Why on earth would anybody need to see this again next week on Netflix? What happened to the new era, this next level product? All this new stuff and innovative storylines and things we've never seen before. The way that Hunter sold it, we were like, yeah, right. But maybe some of that we'll take if you're offering. How? A whole week. And that's what they have marketed, guys. That's what they're hoping that you come back next week to see Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, and maybe CM Punk will get involved. Because you haven't seen CM Punk and Drew McIntyre enough in 2024. And you got to keep on seeing CM Punk and Seth Rollins all through 2025. Forget the fact that they just wrestled last week and there was a clean W. No. That goes on and on and on. I don't understand how, if you're writing this show, or if a bunch of people are writing it and they present it to H before the show, and HHH takes the booking pen, the approval pen, right? That's even higher than the booking pen. And he approves it. He's like, yes, that's how we should start hour number 2. People will be so excited to hear Seth versus Drew is next week on Netflix. And then it gets more bizarre and stupid. Check this out. This is one of the most dumbfounding decisions of 2025. It's early in the year, but this right now has the top spot for stupidity. Until we get to the women, right? Nia Jax Bayley segment, which is coming up, I believe, right afterwards, no? Maybe a couple. What I'm about to talk about, is currently in the number 1 spot for stupidest decision in WWE in 2025. It's early in the year, but this has the top spot. So, right after we're backstage and we get Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre announced for next week. Guys, Karrion Kross comes out of Adam Pearce's office. And Karrion informs Miz that the Wyatts have been moved to SmackDown. Now do you see what BC means when I say, believe me, and the words I am telling you are the utmost honesty when we talk reviews. It is not just to hear myself talk. I am literally telling you, when I say a decision is just bad, it's because I've already accounted for all of the categories to be checked off. What does it do for the wrestler, the superstar? What does it do for their story? What does it do for the show trajectory, let alone theirs? What does it do for the company in totality and the audience? Having the Wyatts in the match with Final Testament a month ago, all 8 of them, that's basically saying that's your payoff. It's one whole group versus the other whole group. And it was just a straight up pinfall. Howdy gets pinned due to baby powder. Baby powder to this supernatural character, and that's his kryptonite. And I told you guys in that review, I said, that's it. That's it. It's done. Wyatts could be done from that because there's nowhere to go from that. And I was right. The very next week, they were totally kept off. Everybody. The next week, they just had it announced that Dexter was going to take on Miz one-on-one, and that's what they did 2 weeks after Uncle Howdy took that L. And then Dexter took on Miz, insignificant, irrelevant, nobody talked about it, let alone the next day, let alone an hour afterwards, nobody was talking about it. And then the next week, totally kept off, or irrelevant segment. I don't even know if you saw the Wyatts after that. That's what I was saying. They knew they botched it. And now it looks like they're not even going to continue anything with Final Testament. And that's probably for the best, because at this point, you're just digging the hole deeper. But to just do that, this Wyatt group, they're treating them like it's just any old group, right? The New Day got moved over to SmackDown in the portal. Final Testament got booted in the portal. The Wyatts are this mysterious, supernatural, cryptic group, and they just got like player traded, right? It's like, how do you do that, right? Dexter and Howdy, everybody's got their mask on. Nikki Cross creeps up, and all of a sudden Adam Pearce is like, guys, by the way, you're moving over to SmackDown. And with their mask, they're like, damn it. Damn, man. Howdy in his mask is looking at Dexter. Man, I like Mondays. Just, you humanize them so much that the mystique behind them is pretty much done. I cannot express to you how badly Hunter Hearst Helmsley has damaged the Wyatts. And any inkling and any sense that they could have been something might have absolutely just been disintegrated from how many times they've been botched. I can't believe they were just announced to SmackDown. Karrion comes out and he's just like, yeah, they're not here anymore. They moved to SmackDown. So it's like they ran, right? Like they went to Pierce and they're like, dude, we're done with Final Testament. I can't deal with the baby powder anymore. Can we just go to the blue brand? Like the Wyatts wouldn't have wanted to try to get the Karrion and Miz before they did that. And BC, let it play out. Maybe Karrion and then we'll go to SmackDown too, okay. No matter what. They could try to continue anything. At this point, what I am saying is the Wyatts have been badly damaged to the point of possibly no return. And then just have them just fade off into SmackDown and There's nothing memorable on Monday Night Raw with the Wyatts. Nothing. They went into this weird thing with Gable and the Creed brothers, and then this weird thing with Final Testament where they were defeated. Baby powder, 1, 2, 3, look up at the lights, keep them off TV for a month, and then tell everybody they quietly got booted over to SmackDown because we don't have anything for them and nobody cares. I cannot believe what happened to the Wyatts. I should not be shocked because with the booking and creative of this company, I've been preaching to the high tops for the longest of time, so I shouldn't be shocked. But I am very much shocked at how badly, how fast they've been able to botch and butcher the Wyatts. So now we just have this same type of puzzling, damaging booking to the Wyatts, just on a different night, on a different brand, a different color. That's it. I have no clue that anybody thought booking the baby powder to the eyes to the leader, Uncle Howdy, and that's how he loses. They quietly get told, we get told that they quietly got booted over to SmackDown in a transfer window. You're booking these guys just so average. That's a problem because their whole character is supposed to be way above average. We gotta move on. I'm so puzzled. Where do we go next? Jey Uso Gunther. Yes, I know. You're thinking, BC, didn't we already see this several times for the IC title? They're not doing it again just for the world title, right? Yes, of course they are. But BC is going to give an asterisk here on why I am actually okay with this in totality. So I am going to put a caveat here and a little asterisk. Let me explain. So, Jey Uso Gunther in-ring promo. This leads to a title match at Saturday night's main event next Saturday. The reason I am okay with this, and I'm not just going to talk about another... At this point, it's a broken record. Everything you're seeing from Hunter is just going to be a rematch after rematch. It's clear now, right? They're just recycling matches because they have nothing else. This is what happens when you just book wildly, not really putting too much thought into it, and then when things need to be done, or matches have to happen, or you would like this match to occur, you've already forgotten, you've already done it, in most cases several times, or you don't even care that you've already done it, you're going to do it again anyway. So this is just a new thing. You're going to see more rematches than ever before. Even when Vince McMahon was running the ship, you're going to see even more rematches under Hunter Helmsley because he truly doesn't care. He's just like, just do it. So yeah, you're getting this matchup now, and this time just switching off titles. Not the IC, it's going to be for the World Championship. But here's why I give the asterisk. I see no harm, no foul with this one. And that's because Saturday night's main event is next Saturday, and they had nothing for the show aside from I think Sheamus and Breaker was announced maybe a half an hour before, but they had nothing for the show going into Monday night, and it's a week from Saturday. On top of that, a week after that is the Royal Rumble. So you have these two, it's just bad planning, and it's just bad planning by Hunter Helmsley. You know, I think maybe Ari and Endeavor and a bunch of suit and ties said, hey, can we do this and this? Do you think, Hunter, that you can do this? And Hunter probably goes, yeah, of course I can, of course. And he can't. He can't. Two massive events coming up within the next few weeks. One of them next Saturday had no matches going into last night, basically. And Rumble, they're trying to build it to where we care. Kevin Owens and Cody with a ladder to get to their championship ladder match, and they're trying to make the Rumble star-studded. Saturday night's main event has gotten no love, so he's trying to do these two shows back-to-back, and it's just like you're going to see random matchups that don't really excite, like Sheamus and Braun Breaker again. You're going to see Gunther and Jey Uso again. So that's the deal, guys. It's bad planning. Two big events, and now they're just trying to stuff filler. And that's why you're getting what feels like filler matchups. I do like how Gunther brought up their past matches, right? Don't insult our intelligence. Because we know this is a rematch. So just say it. So I do like that. I like how Jey Uso had fire in his promo. Take the yeet glasses off for a second, or at least put it behind his head. And he got really passionate. Yeah, you're right. I wasn't supposed to be here. I am supposed to be just the tag team guy. This, that, and the other thing. Everything that's said about him. But he said Saturday night's main event, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. I'm going to do the deed. I'm going to hold up that championship. There was that fire that was needed. So that's why I have no problem with this. Hunter Helmsley bit off more than he could chew, said yes to 2 big events back to back, and he couldn't do it. And he looked at the calendar and said, damn, we ran out of time. And now you're just getting weird filler matchups. You're going to get Gunther and Jey Uso again, this time with a different title on the line. Sucks for Jey. He's going to be fed to Gunther again. But this is what happens when you think you can do something. You get ambitious, which is good, but you got to think realistically. And Hunter found himself in a position where, I have nothing for Saturday night's main event. So, you think you can book 2 shows. That's adorable. But, if you can't, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to, one of those shows is going to be a lot of filler. And that's what we're getting for Saturday night's main event. I don't know. I don't want to keep saying the same thing. Let's just move on. But I'm not going to rip it apart because that's why it's happening. I get it. And listen, it's no harm, no foul. It's not like Gunther is going to lose his championship. Look at it like an exhibition. The problem is we've seen this exhibition match so many times. Unlike Logan Paul and Roman, Crown Jewel Saudi a few years ago. I had no problem with that either because you don't want somebody like AJ Styles, who at the time people wanted to be in that match, but BC knew he was going to be fed to Roman. So don't let AJ be fed to him on 3 weeks' notice. Insert Logan Paul. No harm, no foul. Logan can look up at the lights. It's an exhibition. He's not getting the title. But I got to keep that same energy. If something just feels like a filler exhibition, then just be okay with it. So I'll keep that same energy. This is just a filler exhibition to BC. The problem is just one we've seen too many times. Then we go to the IC Championship for the ladies. This should have been and felt more important than it was, but you still got to give props to the new and first ever IC champion. It was really cool what Michael Cole said about China last night too, by the way. For those that don't know, Michael Cole before this match, and I don't want to... Yeah, I guess I don't even have a quote, but Michael Cole made reference to China and being the IC champion, but that was the dude's title, right? He had who she beat? I think it was Chris Jericho, something like that. But she was actually the IC champion. But they're just saying for the women, this is the first ever IC title. So I totally understand that. And Val absolutely deserves, I don't like that word. I'm not saying she deserves too much right now. She just got to the main roster. But she does deserve to have her name as the first IC champion because this is an entirely new championship. Born in 2025, or at least given out in 2025. So, yeah, there should not be an asterisk, and that's with much love to China, but totally different title, and that's an achievement within itself, what China accomplished. Because I don't know if Val is defeating Chris Jericho. Maybe today. What do you guys think, man? If Val can defeat Chris Jericho today at 50-something? Possibly. But Valkyria versus Dakota Kai to crown the new first ever IC Women's Champion. Val hits Nightwing for the pinfall finish. That's it. Dakota had hit her move, but Val was able to roll outside, and that was it. She never recovered from that. Dakota kind of got muffed off her game. So this was actually a good match. It was 9 minutes, just under the 10-minute threshold. Started 9:31 p.m. Eastern Time, ended just before 9:41. So 9 minutes. My issue is it didn't feel special enough. My issue is you didn't pump this up to a point where it should have been a main event. Or if not main event, maybe that's what starts the show. You know, the beginning of the show, most cases, is just as important as the finish. Just without the cliffhanger. So maybe but to stuff this in the middle of the show, it didn't feel special, right? You have a new title. It's the first ever champ is about to be crowned. We stuff it in the middle of a Raw. We give him 9 minutes, and then Michael Cole says, what a match. Now, Balor and Priest will main event later. Let's look at a video or something like that, and they went backstage or something. But Michael Cole literally just says, what a match. Val had some pyro. That's the good news. Dakota put up her hand in mutual respect, right? Dakota, instead of being frustrated, she just lost this big match. She's showing mutual respect, right? Good game, good game. Pee-wee football when you're a kid. You get in line after the game. Every single player has to go down the line. Good game, good game, good game, good game, good game. Right? That's what we do in today's wrestling. Everything is mutual respect after you lose. So some mutual respect, some pyro, that's good. And then Michael Cole's like, what a match. Now, on to Priest. And I'm like, that's what I mean. It was, when they made the announcement that there was going to be an IC championship, just like the US, it didn't feel special. Do you guys remember they announced it in the middle of the show? It was real quick. And then the tournaments were so drawn out, not a lot of focus put on them. And then the culmination, like, why not do this at Saturday night's main event if you're going to have it in the middle of the show anyway? And you need matches, clearly. Why not have this IC first ever champion crowned on Saturday night's main event? Just a suggestion. Maybe it would have felt a lot more special than it did last night. But props to Valkyria, man. Shawn Michaels was really high on her, sent that nomination, if you will, and all those good words over to Hunter. And Hunter's like, all right, let's give her a little piece of that rocket then. I don't know how you guys feel about Val. Would that have been your decision in this whole tournament? Would you have chosen somebody else? But Shawn Michaels and Hunter are going Valkyria. Sami Zayn defeats Miz via Haluva Kick, Blue Thunder Bomb combo pinfall. That's all I have in my notes. There was nothing after, guys. I mean, nothing. I'm like, okay, something's going to go on with Sami now. He had this weird thing with Miz and Karrion, so maybe Final Testament attacks him or something. Nothing. Sami just, beats Miz. Sami versus Miz. Fucking 2 hours into this show. That's how people want to spend their Monday nights. Then we go to hour number 3, and this is just puzzling to me. Not as puzzling as what happened to the Wyatts, but easily the second wildest. Because the announcement of Seth versus Drew for the 8 billionth time next week is also bizarre and stupid. But this is right up there with the Wyatts from last night. It's the start of hour 3, and it's Rhea Ripley starting the hour. So you're thinking, okay, this is my brutality. And everybody's all giddy. And I'm like, all right, let's see. This is it. It's not about just winning the title. It's the momentum from it. And what was my biggest concern with her winning the title last week, guys? If you guys caught my review, I said, now it's about the booking afterwards. I go, for Rhea, it's all about the chase. That's the big mystique with her. Once she wins the title, if you've noticed, booking doesn't know what to do and the fans' response kind of gets cut down. We've seen this before. So my big thing was, they better have really big momentum starting day 1. So this was the big test. So Rhea's out there, and Nia Jax out of nowhere cuts her off, comes to the ring. Nia Jax from SmackDown. She just says that she went through the transfer window. She went through the transfer window. You just got beat by Tiffany Stratton. Your friend just pinned you, took your title. You got your hands full over there. Why are we seeing Nia in a Raw ring? It's almost like the Tiffany thing is overshadowed now, right? Oh, that's so I can just do 2 things at once. So Nia goes through this window. She says that she's going to be in the Royal Rumble. And she might choose Rhea's. Again, wouldn't you have your focus solely on your friend who just did that with the cash-in the briefcase and took your title? Now you're actually going, I don't know if I want that one back. I'll pick any time. Maybe I'll go to NXT and I'll tell Julia I want that title. It makes everything that just happened with Tiffany feel so secondary. So Nia just turns her attention to the front row and calls out Bayley. And I'm like, what the fuck would Bayley just be chilling there? Sure enough, Bayley from SmackDown is just sitting front row like Braun Breaker. And she's like, Nia's like, what are you even doing here, Bayley? And Bayley's like, it's my hometown. I live here. And I'm like, Bayley, you're part of just go backstage, man. What the fuck is Bayley just chilling front row? Michael Cole didn't notice this the first 2 hours or didn't say it. Bayley is front row from SmackDown. It didn't take long. Bayley jumps the barricade, gets in there, starts beating up Nia. Nia runs away. Bayley shows mutual respect to Rhea, and the segment is over. I don't think Rhea said another word after that. The segment became nothing to do about Rhea. Remember, I said this is where you have to carry some huge momentum, ignite, spark momentum, because what happens with Rhea now is just as important as winning that title, maybe even more important. And instead, they made it nothing about Rhea. Rhea was just there to carry on this SmackDown segment, because that's what this was. It was Bayley and Nia from SmackDown fighting each other while Rhea stares on like, this is a weird segment. We thought so too, Rhea, because that's literally how this segment went, and it ended. It was, I put in my notes these 4 words. This was so bad. That's what I put in my notes. This was so bad. Like, the writer should absolutely be removed from that position, not lose his job in totality. Maybe there's another office job there at headquarters. Maybe be the janitor. Maybe head the headquarters cafeteria, right? But not a creative writer, because there's nothing creative there. And Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who has the approval pen, should have never approved that. That has nothing to do with Rhea and Monday Night Raw. Nia and Bayley fighting in front of Rhea. Come on, guys. I don't even need to tell you to up your standards and raise your bar. I don't even need to with something like that, right? That's something we all can simultaneously come together and say, yep, BC nailed it on that one, dude. Even if you don't agree with everything I say, that's fine. I mean, everything I say is cemented in truth. But even if you don't, that's fine. That's one of those things where you don't even have to question it. That's just bad. Like, there's no purpose for that, man. And that took us into the main event, just with an odd taste in everybody's mouth. Like, what? The main event was Finn Balor, Damien Priest in a no DQ, no count out fight match. Not a street fight. So in a no DQ, no count out, no holds barred, I'll give you that much. I'm not giving you a street fight. Finn Balor and Damien Priest, again, had nothing to do with a street, guys. So it's just not. It's not. I mean, Damien came down with a kendo stick before the bell even rang. That tells you, what kind of street fight are you getting into? Stop it. At one point, Damien took Balor to the commentary table. This is no joke. It's on Netflix. You can see it for yourself. Michael Cole is on his phone. And when he notices that, he doesn't even try to hide it, guys. He's still trying to, like, text or do what he's doing. He's like, oh, no. He's like, Pat, they're at the table. You talk about a dude that's seen it all. He's so jaded. He doesn't even care. One eye's on the monitor. The other eye's on his phone. Talking about if he'll make it home in time for the pasta macaroni that his wifey's making. I don't even know what was happening there. Michael Cole is on his phone during this matchup. And he didn't even try to hide it when the camera's right on him when they were at the commentary table. But the truth is, guys, this was actually a fun fight. It was kind of overbooked, right? There was a moment where, I mean, at least they took it into the stands, not into the street or even in the parking lot. They didn't even take it backstage, but they did take it into the stands a little bit so they could set up a table spot. And what was it, like a Falcon Arrow, something like that? Damien Priest dive-bombed off of this entranceway up in the crowd level, jumped off and took Balor through some catering tables down below. So that was a cool spot. Many people taking a commercial. Some people just watched Balor get neck braced up and put on a stretcher. And as he's about to be taken away, Priest is like, I'm not buying this, man. He's bullshit. And so Priest goes over, takes out JD McDonald's, takes out Carlito Cool, and then just starts beating up on Balor while he's on the stretcher in a neck brace. So at first you feel bad, like, dude, what if Balor's hurt? But Priest is like, nah, he's not. Sure enough, a few minutes later, McDonald's and Carlito pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and hit the ring, and now the numbers game has caught up to Priest. They ripped the neck brace off of Balor. Sure enough, he was just bullshitting. He was a little sore, but he's looking up, and he does a huge coup de grace. 1, 2, 2 and 8/10. Priest kicks out. Priest would eventually defeat Balor via pinfall, so he overcame all the odds. It does not make Judgment Day look good or badass or strong as a faction if Priest can do that to all of them, but big night, big W for Priest. Again, this is a rematch we've seen many times, but this was easily the funnest. I love the overbooking aspect. I wish they did call this No Holds Barred. Would have set me a little bit more at ease and not have any expectation that maybe they'll leak out into a street, put down the kendo sticks and the trash can lids. But that wasn't the case. So another street fight where they just wrestle in the ring or around it. But it was still fun nonetheless. So that's 2 matchups last night that I can literally use the word fun, like interesting. Like it was more watchable than probably anything else on TV for my desires. Chad Gable Penta in this main event. So that's what I mean about baby steps last night and being better than last week. The bad news is that once Priest got his hand raised, we just saw Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley's credit, Lee Fitting, and then we just went off the air with Michael Cole saying, "See you next week, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, the match you've seen a billion times. Come back and see it again." So I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I'm like, this needs a cliffhanger. It's the Netflix era where it's all this new things we were promised. And this next level storylines, right? All these things. And it's like, Priest just wins this match. Hunter lets everyone know this is his product, him and Lee Fitting, because they're in the credits. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, see you next week. No cliffhanger, nothing to go, whoa, what a finish, man. Must see next week. Nothing. It's the same finishes that we got in 2024 and years previous. That's the problem, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. Forget us raising our bars. The company needs to raise their bars first. And this is just the same old, same old. It's like even when they do things semi-right or even right in totality, they can't capitalize on their own momentum. Thankfully, that's where people like BC and my Amplified unit come in. You know, we critique this honestly. We love this. We want to see it better. We want to fill in the gaps that are not so good. And hopefully Hunter and the crew, the suits and ties, they understand this. We're coming to make the show better with these type of reviews and these uploads. We're coming at the product, at the company, at Hunter, because we love this. And they should and could be doing a lot better. So, better than last week? Yes, check. That's the good news. Bad news, that's where the bar was set last week. And you can't say it was that much better this week. But, I don't know, man. I don't know. And again, just some wild stuff. The women's division, I don't know. That was bizarre, man. Just Bayley and Nia was their best plan. Take them from SmackDown, insert that into Monday Night Raw, and let Rhea watch it. Wyatts, just take them over to SmackDown. Next week's big match, Seth and Drew again. Saturday night's main event, just redo Jey Uso and Gunther. First 25 minutes of the night last night, just have everybody declare themselves Royal Rumble bound. I don't know, man. A lot of these decisions are just, what exactly are we doing? Matches like Sami Zayn and Miz? I just, I asked the questions because it's befuddling, man. That was it, guys. That was it. I will try to absolutely just kind of hang the hat on the positives, though, which are those 2 matchups. You know, the no holds barred fight was actually fun, and Penta and Gable was match of the night easily. I wish I could tell you anything else, man. Even Valkyria winning the IC championship almost became an afterthought. I just saw it again in my notes. Otherwise, I would have forgot to even mention that again a second time in this review because that was stuffed in the middle and so irrelevant. But props to Valkyria. She won the IC title, so it's newsworthy. It just doesn't feel special. So that's it, guys. That's what I have. It's the most honest take you're going to get on this show. I want to see it go to the promised land. I want to put the rocket on this show and this company's back and watch them soar. But they have to help us, right? They got to meet us there, too, and want that. So these are very valid critiques that can make and will make the show better. It's just, will the company listen and adhere to these critiques, make the necessary changes, raise their bar and their standards? Let's take it, man. Let's take this to a whole nother level, man. Let's truly make it a new era. Instead of constantly telling your audience that it is and that it's cool again and this is the best time to ever be a fan, let's make it one of the best. Make these shows make sense from top to bottom, beginning to end, start to finish. So that in reviews or when we're thinking about the shows, we're not going, oh, there was a couple of good things last night. It should be way more than a couple. It was over 2.5 hours long. That's what I got for you guys, man. Raw 113.25. Thank you so much. I know this was a little bit longer and a lot later getting out to you guys, but I hope you felt the amplification. And you come on back. We have, can I do NXT and AEW again this week? Maybe. I'll try. But there's so much content coming up this week, so stay locked on the channel. Subscribe, notified, all the good stuff. Until next time, and there will be that next time. BC in the unit. 44 dive. That's a wrap. Salute and check ya.